I don't really like to do videos, just as I've talked about the similar topic very recently. However, the situation in Cornwall is deteriorating incredibly fast, and by the time this video comes out, the situation may have moved even faster. So today that I'm recording this video, I'm talking about a rather reform councillor down in Cornwall who has now left the party. At this point, I believe 4 more have now left the party as well. This is all trying to keep up with it all. And not only that, but they have now decided to go form their own new, brand new political group in Cornwall. They are the Cornish Independents. But wait, I hear you say, aren't there already independents in Cornwall that have their own, Cornish Independent Group? Yes, you would be right, dear reader. And believe it or not, they have, again, from what we've heard, they tried to join that group because currently Cornwall is led by a coalition of Lib Dems and Independents. They tried to join that group. They got refused. Why? Because it's not a good idea to run an entire election campaign where you called those people like corrupt and wasteful and incompetent when all you've done is for the past 6 or 7 months is shown that no, actually they are very competent compared to the absolute omnishambles that reform not only currently has been in Cornwall, but quite frankly, the rest of the country. It is generally absolutely astonishing the amount of stuff I can talk about on a daily basis about the absolute shambles that has gone on in some of these reform-led councils. And it is very likely in May we are going to get even more. So, hooray! Content, but just too much content. And this is only 12. This is only 12. And the last video, as I said, there's stuff going on in Warwickshire I want to talk about. The stuff going on in Durham I want to talk about. And it's just, there's so much stuff. 5 minutes, guys. 5 minutes. Can you not sit still for 5 minutes? But anyway, on into this. So, before we do, of course, please do remember to click on the like, share, and of course, subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell so you get notifications, of course. Down below, there's the Patreon page, the Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the YouTube membership button down below as well. And of course, it is Wednesday, so there will be a brand new membership video. In fact, tell you what, catch-up video. You want to hear about the stuff going on in Warwickshire? Join the Patreon, join the YouTube stuff. Links down below, QR code there. We'll see you in that one, but to catch up with that, because that does deserve to be caught up with. So do join the membership of that. You get access to all the other videos that I've done on that as well. So thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel. And of course, as always, let's go cracking on into this, because I highly suspect this is going to accelerate even more, to be honest, down there. So, more Reform UK resignations in Cornwall as new now political group is formed. So, the former leader of Reform UK at Cornwall Council has now resigned from the party over the weekend and has now set up a new independent political group. Councillor Rob Parsonage left Reform alongside his wife, Councillor Christine Parsonage, and Councillor Thomas Caton. They've now joined forces with the Reform group's former leader, Councillor Rowland O'Connor, and Councillor Karen Knight, who again we talked about yesterday, who also left the party last week, now to form a breakaway Cornish Independent Non-Aligned Group at the council. This means that Reform UK is no longer the largest political group at that authority. That honour now goes to the Lib Dems. So, Reform went from being the largest political group that could have formed a coalition to be in power. That failed because of how they ran their election. They then went from being the largest political group to now having so many resignations. They have now fallen to being I think the second on this one. This is unbelievable that this has happened. And bear in mind, they could have been in power. they could have been in power. It is very likely if there was a larger Conservative group on this council, the Conservatives might have put them into power and got into coalition with them. And then potentially all this could have happened. And this coalition, this council could have fallen to pieces to a point where they might have even had to have another election. So, Cornwall, you dodged a bullet. You dodged a very big bullet by not allowing these people in and not voting more of these people in. Congratulations on that, because it could have been oh so much worse. So it continues. In what has obviously been a very disastrous month for Reform UK, in Cornwall, the deputy council leader, Rowland O'Connor, has not only stepped away from his role, but also Reform itself, becoming now a standalone independent. At the beginning of October, he said, remaining in the party was limiting my ability to speak and act freely for our community. He told his ward members in St. Mary and Columba and Megwin and St. Wen that he could now serve them without party influence. Very interesting, that party influence. Once again, saying and leading to the stories and pretty much confirming the stories, in fact, that there is this unit down in London that is controlling the show, that is running them, that they are being told what to do by that office down in London. If this, of course, wasn't enough shock, the group's leader, then Councillor Rob Parsons, who represents Torpoint, resigned his role just 2 days later, though he remained very, albeit briefly, a Reform councillor. He then moved and then came when a former Reform chairman of the South East Cornwall branch criticised Councillor Party's leadership, saying he possesses neither the intellect nor the leadership qualities, or indeed any charisma at all required for this important role. So guess what? He left. Following then, of course, a vote amongst Reform councillors last Tuesday, Parsons O'Connor were then replaced by Councillor Paul Ashton, and of course, Councillor Roger Tarner as deputy leader of the Reform group. And just a few days later, then Councillor Karen Knight, who also was voted in as a Reform councillor in Carbon, West Transhaw, joined back in May, joined then Councillor Connor as a standalone independent. Now, over the weekend, Rob Parsonage, his wife is Christine, who represents Columba Minor and Colin, and Anne Thompson-Cahill, also left the Reform group, and all five have now formed a brand new Cornish Independent Non-Aligned Group, with O'Connor now as the group leader and Parsonage now as deputy leader. I can't believe it's just fallen apart so fast over infighting on this. Councillor Christine Parsonage is also currently absent on personal special leave until December the 7th. This is the person who was criticised very much so because she doesn't live there, nor she attended any town council meetings or anything like that. This year, she obviously faced a lot of criticism from UK councillors for not attending any town council meetings. She also faced criticism for living over 45 miles away from the area she represents. But now, it's okay. She's not part of Reform UK. She's just this independent, which I suppose will appease any people who come to me and complain of these Reform people that tend to find my channel. At least she's not a Reform councillor, right, guys? You know? I suppose you could breathe a sigh of relief that you can't be criticised over that anymore. However, I have this very long list of further examples of other Reform councillors also not turning up. So don't worry about that one. We've also approached all those concerned and asked why they left Reform, and of course, what their political intentions are with this new group. But we have been told that they will issue a press statement later today. A Reform UK Cornwall spokesperson said that whilst, of course, we are disappointed by the resignations, we do wish the councillors all the best of luck in future and look forward to working with them in Lynn's Carrow. Under, of course, our new leadership in the council, Reform UK is now unified in our commitment to hold the administration to account of the lack of housing for local people, their plans to sell the county farms and farmhouses, and aspiring 1.3 billion debt is now a ticking time bomb for residents. So, usual Reform UK bluster on that one. And their statement, I don't think, was anything too fantastic. Let me just bring up the statement. Let me try and find the statement. Where is it? Here we are. Yeah, this was weird because apparently they're now going to be a benign force for good in Cornwall, which is really weird. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? That's joining the. So the new group aims to provide a fresh, non-partisan voice in local governments. Promise to collaborate across the party lines so the aim of transparency decision making want to help address the council's now increasing debt. They said the Dutch deserves councillors, of course, focus on the unique challenges and opportunities now facing our communities. By working independently, we can try and ensure that local voices are heard and decisions that are made now to the benefit of the residents, not party agendas. The formation of a group, of course, non-aligned, of course, begs the very obvious question: why have they all left Reform? It might appear like a mystery from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, it's probably not so much a mystery, said O'Connor. Reform UK now is a national party campaigning now for national elections, and when we got elected as a group of 28, a lot of us were then, of course, minded that we were now coming in to serve our residents and their best interests for our home because we all live in Cornwall. When you're in local government, that is pretty much that is pretty much now an apolitical operation. Reform UK has got to do what Reform UK has got to do. And since the beginning, I have now stood for the general election last year and as a councillor back in 2021. So I've had 5 years of my life in the party, but I put my name on the ballot box to serve the residents of my area. Reform UK are going in a very particular direction, wanting now to try and leverage the opportunity to be in the council to try and secure a national change. But which of course is absolutely the right thing. We do need a national change, but what we need to do is to get on trying to serve our residents as well as we are elected to do. A lot of us, of course, have had very personal decision points. So, by the sounds of it, what this guy is saying so far, before we continue, he is saying Reform UK are ignoring the fact that they are elected in these areas and more focused on national elections and want to use these positions, maybe where they didn't win, to use those more as spring points to try and win MPs because they don't really care about running these councils. It sounds to me what he's coming across saying. So a lot of us, of course, have had these personal decision points, and there's always, of course, a personal decision point. Of course, that will be the clincher. For me, is of course, who do I serve? When I was in Reform as deputy leader, I was serving multiple masters, the party, the national agenda. That's where I was trying to serve my residents. Increasingly, my casework was now falling behind. A lot of it was, of course, to do with the party politics. A lot of us have had that push and pull between the national objectives and local need. Thought so. So this is exactly what he's saying. The Reform does not care about local people. It only cares about the national point of view. They do not care about these local councillors, which is very, very telling indeed. Very, very telling indeed. He said, we run services. We, of course, we are implementers, of course, in the councils. We are not policy setters. And Reform UK is off now looking for issues to do with migration, net zero, DEI, all the rest of it, which doesn't really apply at a local level. Unbelievable. So yeah, pretty much they don't care. They don't care about local councillors. They only care about the national stuff. They're doing anything they can. Migration, net zero, DEI doesn't apply at a local level, which is again very true. They want to use this as a springboard to try and win national elections. They don't care about local residents. They don't care about local politics. I asked, of course, about the much reported infighting, which, of course, has been happening in Reform UK Cornwall, that has, of course, played a part in leaving the party. He said, possibly, yes, said Councillor O'Connor. I've enjoyed a pretty good career over the past decade and been involved in small, medium, and large enterprises. And I have to say, this has been the most challenging time. Why wouldn't it be? You've got 28 strangers chucked in a room together, all with different abilities, backgrounds, beliefs, and values, and everything else. It's been a very difficult time. But that's the nature of reform. It is in grassroots movements, and people get elected, and from that group, they all have to group together and try and make the best of it. I'm hoping the drama will die down a bit now. I wouldn't say it, so. So he was then asked, will this new group now work alongside the Lib Dem independent administration? Exactly. I've spoken now to all the group leaders, and now the proposition I've put to all of them is that our group is, of course, very benign. We don't have any political ambitions to take over control of the council, the nation, and, of course, the world, or whatever it is. We are here to, of course, try and lend a shoulder to try and push the council forward to some fairly significant financial severe challenges that it's facing at the moment. We are going to try and help and cooperate rather than be confrontational. We've got now a wealth of experience from inside and outside industry we can, of course, bring to the council. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting one on that one. So they jumped ship. These councillors jumped ship because they do not like the fact that Reform UK is not focusing on letting them get on with their job as councillors. That, to me, seems to be the main point. That all they care about is you need to highlight that, go with this whole Britain is broken and reform is the only thing that can fix it. That seems to me their whole mantra. So let me know what you think about this. I'd be very interested to know. And of course, if you are from Cornwall, do let me know what you think about this as well. As always, it's always fascinating hearing from local residents down below the comments. So as always, thank you very much for watching. Do, of course, remember to click on the like and share button on your way out. There will, of course, be a new video out for them. Like I say, we'll do a quick Warwickshire catch-up with the stuff going on with George Finch. So if you want to watch that, links down below. Patreon page links up here. Again, got to remember I'm mirrored. Got up here for that one. And of course, as always, thank you very much for all your support that you guys show the channel. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.